Hi, everyone. My name is Diane, and I'm an admissions representative with Kansas State University Online. I want to start by thanking everyone for joining us tonight to learn more about our personal financial planning graduate programs. I'm joined by the program coordinator, Tiara Diamond, and department chair, Dr. Martin C. Tiara and Dr. C are going to spend roughly the next 30 minutes giving us a presentation about this program, and then we'll spend the last 10 to 15 minutes answering questions. Throughout the duration of this presentation, we will be monitoring the chat feature and answering questions as they're being asked. Some of your questions may be saved until the end for Tiara and Dr. C to answer. And if you could now please take a few moments to locate the chat feature and answer the question you see on your screen, as we would love to learn a little bit more about you. I will give you a minute to do so now. And as those chats are coming in, I also wanted to let you know that we will be sharing a recording of this presentation following the webinar. And at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Tiara and Dr. C.
Well, perfect, and thank you to you all for joining us late at night. I was just thinking about ahead of time how much is going on in the world, and thinking about starting a graduate program now. So I want to thank you for your interest in our program. Thank you for taking the time and get to share a little bit about our program with you, and a little bit about financial planning, which we are so passionate about because we believe financial planning can help change lives. So what I'm going to do is a little bit of context about what financial planning is. Then we're going to dive into the program itself and the courses that you'll take, as well as sort of the support network that we have. So one of the things that we often think about when we think about financial planning is, if you could think about the perfect profession, what are the attributes that you could think of? And the things that we often think about, and what often drives people to financial planning, is they want to have the opportunity to help people and to have an impact in the community. They also would like to have the opportunity to make some money. That is, they want to work hard for their clients, but they also want to have the opportunity to earn money to support themselves and their families. People also would love to have a job that helps people, that has high income, and also has high flexibility. As a father with 2 young kids at home, I hope someday I get to be the baseball coach that gets to go home and make sure that I'm taking care of that. But then, of course, if a career existed where you're able to help people, you have high income and high flexibility, there must not be many opportunities there. And when you think about financial planning, it is actually all of the above. As it stands, it was interesting. Last week I was traveling, meeting with a firm, and within the 3 days that I was there, I had 4 firms reach out that were looking to hire graduates of our program. The demand for talent in this space is just crazy. So if you're in financial planning, you know what I'm talking about. You see it as you meet with your clients. If you're thinking about joining, this really is a profession, a growth profession, where you can really have an impact. So I hate to be an academic, but hey, you're looking at joining an academic program, but I'm going to start with a bit of a definition for you. So the definition of financial planning, and this is from the CFP board, and I apologize for reading, is a collaborative process that helps maximize a client's potential for meeting life goals through financial advice that integrates relevant elements of a client's personal and financial circumstances. So just a couple of words that really stick out to me when I think about financial planning, and it starts at the beginning as a collaborative process. So when we think about financial planning, what you're really trying to do is put yourself on the same side of the table to help to understand what a client wants and work with them. You're not somebody who's just going to sit there and be a font of advice. You're going to be somebody that works collaboratively with them, hand in hand, to help them move forward. The second is maximize a client's potential for meeting life goals. For meeting life goals. For me, that's really, really powerful. It's not about the money. Money is a means, it's not an end. And through financial planning, you have those conversations to understand what a client really cares about, what their goals really are, whether it's family, whether it's travel, whether it's retirement, whatever it might be. And your job is to be their partner as you design that plan to meet those life goals. And the last little part that sticks out to me in this definition is elements of the client's personal and financial circumstances. And this is where the rubber meets the road. Now, it's very true. There are elements that apply to many people and that will overlay across the client base. But everybody has their own uniqueness. Their goals are a little bit different. Their family circumstances a little bit different. Their personal circumstances a little bit different. So there is no one size fits all approach with financial planning. And that's what makes it so beautiful. And that conversation to craft that plan with your client that maximizes their chance to reach their life goals. One of the ways that we often communicate about it is really you're trying to put together a puzzle piece. It's you're trying to put together a puzzle. It's only through a conversation with that client that you're really able to understand what that puzzle picture should look like. And then it's through planning and working with them that you design those pieces and you start to fit them together. One of the other things that we always say is it's financial planning, not financial plan. You don't do it once. It's an ongoing process that will evolve as an individual and family evolves through their life circumstance. One of the other ways that we sometimes talk about it is financial planning is really lifestyle design. One of the ways that I have thought about it is you're helping a client align their money and resources in their pursuit of well-being, aligning a client's time and money as in their pursuit of well-being, however it is that they might design that. So functionally, how does that work on the ground? Really, the way that I think about it is you are helping give client organization to their financial lives. You're helping give them the confidence that they are taking the right steps into what steps they need to take. And then on the back end, you're trying to hold clients accountable for following that advice, for walking the walk once they say they want to achieve something. And you're that partner that's working with them on that. So related to careers, I'm just going to do a little bit of a broad overstrokes here. And the reality is there are jobs all over the place in financial planning. This is sort of an overview that a couple of professors and I got together to try to help understand the different elements and then what are the attributes that are needed to succeed. So if you're up at the top left, these tend to be firms where you're going to be entrepreneurial. There's going to be high income, but it's going to be a lot of really hard work, and you're going to have to build your book from scratch, or with some, but not a ton of help. As you move to the right, typically this is going to be more defined career path. You're not necessarily going to start as a lead advisor. You're going to start in a support role and you're going to grow through that. Typically speaking, these tend to be smaller firms, but right now a lot of the growth tends to be in the RIA or the hybrid space, the duly registered independent broker dealer. At the bottom is where you're seeing a lot of growth with the growth of technology, whether it's robo-advising, whether it's fintech. And here's the interesting thing for y'all. For the most part, robos aren't really robos anymore. While they might be for a certain segment of clients, they are continually overlaying human advice. Because at the end of the day, what they've found is it's through that human touch and those human elements that you're able really to create that long-lasting relationship. And this is very much a relationship business. As I look at this chart, most of our graduates tend to be, as you move to the top right, that's where they tend to align, but all of these options would be open to you. Now, many of you might be thinking about joining a practice and helping to build it. This is one possible career path. This is from a study that Michael Kitsis did, talking about the general career path in financial planning. And generally speaking, the base level role is going to be as a paraplanner. You're going to be hired for your technical expertise, and your job is to develop plans to support an advisor. Over time, you'll grow into be a financial planner. Many of you, if you have a graduate degree, may start at the financial planner role. And here, you're going to start providing leadership for the firm, and you're going to be doing business management. You may or may not have the responsibility to go and get clients, but your job is to meet with clients, to provide them advice, and to service them on a day-to-day basis. As you move forward, as you move through this evolution, you would then move into more of a senior advisor role. And usually at that point, you will start to have some sort of client acquisition responsibility. It says sales here. We don't think sales is a dirty word at all. Some of you, if you go into the profession, will never sell a product in your life. Many of you will, and that's just fine. But no matter what, you have to be able to sell yourself. You have to get clients to follow your advice, and they have to get them to do business with you. And then as you move to the top, you might become a partner or owner of a firm. And as you move to that level, you move away from the day-to-day financial planning to more of the management of the business. So what does that look like in terms of salaries? So this is from 2017. And from my experience, this is roughly aggregate. It depends a little bit of where you are in the United States. But this is pretty accurate in terms of income potential. So the average paraplanner or support advisor, typically speaking, this would be an undergraduate that comes out and starts working at a firm. After 4 years, the average total compensation is $65,000, and only 10% of this is derived from compensation that's incentive-based, so salaries. As you move to the right as a service advisor, you start to see income go up significantly. The average service advisor at 8 years in, this would be somebody that's managing business, although not necessarily going out and acquiring a ton, would be $94,000 a year. And you start to see a little bit more related to incentives. As you move one step further to that lead advisor, who's generally speaking the person that's going out and driving business, you see that jump to $165,000, and more of that salary is tied to business acquisition. And lastly, partners do very well for themselves as they move forward. Now, this is on the aggregate, so there are paths where you move a lot quicker than this, and there are some paths where you may move a little bit slower. So that's my overview, a little bit of what financial planning is, a little bit about the industry, and a little bit about what salary expectations might be. So I'm going to transition a little bit into our program. So as we think about our program at Kansas State, we really have 5 graduate programs. We're really here to talk today about 4, but I did want to mention our 5th program. So we offer 3 standalone graduate certificates: the personal financial planning, the financial therapy, and the advanced financial planning graduate certificate. I'm going to talk about a little bit of those a little bit later. You also can get a master's degree in personal financial planning, in which you would take 2 of these tracks and mix them together, which we'll talk a little bit about. And then, while not the focus of today's webinar, I did want to mention that we do have a doctoral degree that is also completed online, and I'd be glad to talk to you about that separately if you have interest in that doctoral program. So what does this content look like? What are these degrees? So the core is the personal financial planning graduate certificate. And this is built around the educational requirements to sit for the CFP exam. Once again, this can be standalone, or this could be a part of the master's degree. And this would be investments, estate, tax, insurance, retirement, and capstone. So after you were to complete this coursework, you would have met the educational requirement for the CFP. You would still need to take and pass the exam, have 3 years of work experience, although there is an exemption for 2 in certain circumstances. And then you would have to agree to a code of ethics that all CFP professionals have to abide by. But this is the path to the CFP. Now, what really makes our program unique at Kansas State is one of only 2 departments of personal financial planning in the country, is that we offer a lot of specialized content designed specifically for financial advisors to help them work better with their clients. As you look across the country, we are really one of 3 programs that provides targeted content beyond the CFP exam to help you better serve your clients. I always get the question, and I'm always transparent. The 2 other programs that that I'm talking about. One is Texas Tech University. They have great programs. You got to move to Lubbock, Texas, though. And then the other is Golden Gate University out of California, which is a program that also offers some additional content. For us at K-State, what we focus on are the soft side and then the technical side. So the soft side, the communication side, the understanding clients, that is our financial therapy certificate. And how we communicate about that is that's client-centered training that helps you better serve your clients. What it allows you to do is start to understand where your client is coming from. What's their perspective on money? Why do they think and act the way they do about money? And how are they going to react based off of changes in the market? So we say it's a little bit of behavioral finance. What behavioral finance helps us understand is behavioral biases that people tend to exhibit around as the stock market goes up or down, as they deal with the pressure of dealing with losses or the opportunity, excitement of gains. It's a little bit of client psychology, understanding what's going on in a client's head, understanding their money scripts and how they view money, and how that their relationship with money may shape their willingness to actually follow the advice that you give. And then financial therapy, which is around the discussion techniques that you can use with a client to help move them forward along their financial journey. So the financial therapy certificate, as I stated, can be a standalone certificate, or it can be wrapped in to the master's degree. The second specialization that we offer is focused on the technical content that you need. This is designed for existing CFP practitioners that want to hone their technical skills. If you were to do a master's degree, you could combine this with either of the other certificates, but we view this as sort of financial planning content on steroids. So this is going to be advanced tax, advanced estate, advanced retirement, and then a practice management course. So what we try to do is we assume you have the baseline knowledge of the CFP exam, and we try to throw you into understanding real life and special scenarios that you might interact with in a client, and help you understand strategies that you can employ to help them. So this is very much case study focused, very much scenario focused, and moving that forward. Once again, really is focused on the practical insight into more complex client scenarios. So with that, Tiara, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit about K-State.
Okay, great, thanks. And I'm excited that all of you guys are joining us this evening. So thanks, like Dr. C said, for taking time out of your night to learn a little bit more about our programs. And so why K-State? I often get asked this question, and really there's a lot of great reasons why K-State and the personal financial planning program is awesome. But at the top of the list, we have our faculty. And our faculty are leaders in the field of financial planning, financial counseling, and financial therapy. And on top of all of that, they really care about our students, and they're committed to delivering an excellent academic experience and content that you need to be successful in the field. Next to that, we have a great student support system. I'm the primary contact for the graduate students, and so I am always here to help, let you know what classes you need to take, course sequencing, if there's any kind of questions you have just with tuition or where can I find this, or how do I get help here? I'm your go-to person for that. So that works really well because there is someone here that you talk to on a regular basis that can help you get the questions that you need answered, even though you're far away at a distance. Our students move through the programs in a cohort, which works really well. We encourage study groups and networking when it's appropriate, and you really get to know each other in the class. So we do have that live Zoom session, and it's not mandatory. They're recorded if you can't attend, but it is a great way to meet other students in the program. And so we always encourage participation if you're able to do that. Our courses are 8 weeks in length, and so students typically take 2 courses a semester, but only one at a time. It is a full 16-week course condensed into 8 weeks. So you'll be busy, but it's doable, and it really moves through the program pretty quickly. The feedback we've gotten on the 8-week courses has really all been positive. You got to stay on top of the coursework, but you get through those courses and you move through the program, quickly, and you're only focusing on one at a time, which is awesome if you have other, obligations, maybe a family, a full-time job, things like that. You really just only have that one course to focus on, which is really great. As Dr. C mentioned previously, our program does meet the educational requirement to sit for the Certified Financial Planner exam. Most of the time, the students will start with, if it's a student that is taking the CFP content courses, so it's not an advanced planner, they move through the CFP content first, and then we submit your name to the CFP board, and you're eligible to take the exam then when you choose. We're also an educational partner with AFCPE. So for those that might be interested in the Accredited Financial Counselor certification, we also partner with them and support that designation as well. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so the Master's in Personal Financial Planning. It's kind of a 3 tracks, pick 2 to complete. Again, all coursework is online, 10 courses or 30 credit hours to earn the degree. The PFP graduate certificate basically consists of the CFP coursework. It can be a standalone certificate or one of the 3 tracks to complete the degree. And the courses are listed there. You can see insurance, retirement, investments, tax, estate planning, and case studies. The second track, financial therapy graduate certificate, again, that's a standalone certificate, but it's also part of the master's degree. If you're interested in pursuing licensure, that goes through the Financial Therapy Association. And so our educational program does count for the financial part of that. There is still, I know, a mental health piece that you'd have to look into a little bit further, but that licensure does go through the Financial Therapy Association. And if you are interested, if we have anybody that's interested in that standalone certificate, if you have not had like an intro to PFP, an intro to personal finance course, or ours is PFP 105, something similar in your past, basically a time value of money course, then we do have that as a prerequisite to those financial therapy courses. Now, if you've had a intro to personal finance course in your past, then you don't have to take that intro course, but we do like for the students to have, that basic understanding of personal finance prior to the start of the actual financial therapy coursework. Okay, the courses that are involved there, Intro to Financial Therapy, Money and Relationships, Applied Behavioral Finance, and Financial Therapy Theory and Research. Next slide, please. Okay, so the advanced planner, again, this is designed for somebody that is already a CFP professional, or somebody that's already had that CFP content. Maybe they haven't sat for the exam yet, but they are wanting additional content. So those courses are going to be Advanced Estate, Advanced Retirement, Advanced Tax, and then Professional Practices. The elective courses for that track would be Foundations of Leadership, Conflict Resolution, Case Studies. That's everyone's favorite. They always choose that. Not really. But there are some certifications that do require a written case plan every couple of years. So if that happens to be you, then that might be the course that you select. Okay, next slide, please. All right. Questions that we get, current tuition and fees, right around $2,200 for the 3 credit hour graduate level course. Books are an additional expense, and it ranges depending on your wants and needs, essentially. So their books now come digital, used, new, so there's a kind of a wide variety there. You can get them, people get them from all different all different sources. We have a K-State bookstore that you can order from. A lot of people get them from Money Education. You can order them off Amazon. So there's different ways to get books for the program. There are some national scholarships. I always like to direct people to the CFP board website, because they do have a page where it lists a lot of national scholarships. So I always encourage people to check that out. Global Campus also offers scholarships for every semester. Students are encouraged to apply for those. We don't have a lot of specific program scholarships at the program level, just as it's a graduate online course and program, but there are some out there. And so we definitely encourage people to look for those. If you're currently in the program and we get information on our scholarship, we send it out to all of our students so they have that opportunity to apply for that. For the application process, you can apply online. The address is right there for you to see. It's pretty easy. There's several different places where you can apply on the K-State page. Definitely want to think about the references. So for the master's degree, you have to submit 3 references, and kind of how that process works is you in the application, you input the email address for those 3 people. And once you submit the application, it goes directly to those people. And they need to know to look for the email. It's coming from the K-State grad school, so sometimes it lands in junk or spam. So I always tell applicants, make sure that they know to look for that. And it literally takes about 10 to 15 minutes. They complete a short form, and then there's actually a spot right in the form to complete the letter. And so they don't have to do letterhead and all of those types of things that sometimes make references put it off. So it's a very simple process, but that's usually kind of the part that takes the longest in terms of processing and having it considered complete. So if you're interested in applying and you get, you're working through the online application and you run into some snags, or you have questions, you can contact me directly and I can help answer your questions.
Thanks, Tiara. So I will start facilitating questions, so please flow them in. So one quick note, K-State actually just updated their tuition and fees policy, and I think I overshot it. We'll follow up, but I'm thinking it's actually close to $1,900 a class, so we will verify that, but it should be $510 in tuition, and then there's $125 credit hours per thing. So about $2,200 is a high estimate. We can follow up with that exact amount. Here, there's a question, and I believe it's tied to the 105 prerequisite for somebody wanting to do the financial therapy certificate. They have an MBA. How might that translate to the intro course?
So it kind of depends on what courses you've taken. And so I would just encourage you to shoot me a quick email. If you've had a personal finance course and anywhere in there, or even in your undergrad, if it was years ago, an intro course, we can typically cover it. If you have other, like if you're a CFP or an AFC, something along those lines, that also obviously works for that content. So, it has to be more on the personal finance level as opposed to just business corporate finance. But if you have something in there in your transcripts that we can count, we try to find that course in there where we try to be workable with that. So I would say just send me your transcript and I can look and see kind of what you have and if we can count one of your classes.
Thanks, Tiara. The next question is, can the MS and PFP be completed in 18 months? And so the way the course is designed is one class every 8 weeks, which would take about 2 years to do. Now, students can accelerate if they have significant time to devote. That would mean you'd be taking 2 classes at a time in an 8-week session. We have had students successfully do that, but generally speaking, you have to understand that each class is probably 10 to 12 hours a week of work. So if you're going to take 2 of those classes at a time, you need to be able to devote basically more than a half-time job to studying. If you're interested in accelerating, you can reach out to Tiara and she can talk through what that path would look like. The typical format, though, is is 2 years, one class at a time, pretty consistently throughout. Tiara, anything you'd add to that?
I would just say, you're right on with all of that, but typically students do complete in 24 months. So just a little over that 18-month mark.
Yep. So how many weeks is the 105 prerequisite class? It is 8 weeks as well. Tiara, is the cost structure the same?
It should be actually a little bit less because it's an undergraduate class, so you don't have to take the graduate section. Graduate courses typically at universities are a little higher tuition than undergrad. So it's a little bit less, but I don't know the exact dollar amount. We can follow up with you on that though.
And then there's a question about cohort. Now, the good news is it's rolling admission. It's best if you start at the beginning of an academic semester, but we actually have students that can start at any time. There's still an opportunity to get into the August session if you get a step on it. Probably need to be applying this week or next week. But Tiara, what would be the timeline and when would a class start if they want to start in August?
Yeah, no, you're right. I would say, again, it kind of depends on references. So if your references can get back to us, really quickly, then we can process your application very quickly. It comes to me, I do my checks, as soon as it's ready, we send it back to the grad school. They know our classes start in August, a little bit earlier than the other classes. So they work very well with us. So I always suggest if you can start in the fall, it's great because I feel like the course sequence, is really, really good if you start in the fall. So yeah, if you can get your application in, by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday of next week, and I can work with you and we can get you in classes starting August 16th.
Thanks, Tiara. So the next question is around the CFP exam. So Andy brings up a great point. So the CFP has added an extra content area. They're actually moving into the client psychology, space for the first time. The great news at K-State is we have been doing this for 15 years. So it's literally just a matter of reshuffling some content. And so we are very much paying attention to those requirements, and we'll be adjusting our courses. But once again, the great news is none of that is new to K-State. We've been teaching that content for an extremely long time. So that is a great question, Andy, and an important thing to note that area has been added. Tiara, there's a question about scholarships.
Yeah, so Global Campus has scholarships that you can apply for every semester, so we definitely encourage that. And then I always point people to the CFP board. They have a great educational page, and one of those pages is dedicated to scholarships on a national level. And it seems like there are quite a few scholarships that are listed that our students definitely qualify for. So I always encourage people to check those out. And then again, if we have information about a scholarship, I always send that out so that students have the opportunity to apply.
Thanks, Tiara. Jeremiah, I'm glad to answer that. I may get it to pull up as we're going, but Tiara might have to follow up with you about that particular class. It looks like it's a financial literacy certification, so it's quite possible, but I would let Tiara run that through the process for that. Liz, so how early can I apply for spring 2022 if I'm getting my bachelor's degree in December 2021? It's quite common for folks to apply in the last semester as they're completing their degree. Tiara, can she apply now, or would you wait till the fall starts to do that?
I would wait probably until October and then apply. We can process it through. And then one of the things that the graduate school will require before they fully admit you is, of course, that transcript that shows that you have earned that degree. So, but you can go ahead and apply. I would say October is fine for that.
And Liz, I mean, the reality is you can go ahead and apply now and start working with Tiara and understand what it's going to look like. Her point is correct that you will have to show proof of completing that degree before you can formally start. But we're glad to work with you along that process and line you up and get you set up and ready to go in the spring. Amy asks, are all PFP courses available in the spring, summer, and fall semesters? The answer is no. There is sequences that are followed, and the great news is Tiara is an academic advisor for you, and she literally will be the one that you will deal with from application to course selection to filling out the paperwork for graduation. So it's sort of the one-stop shop. Yes, she does all the work. I just run around the country and talk to folks. She tells me that all the time. But there is course sequences, and we'll be glad to share that sequence with you as you move through. Tiara, anything you'd add to that?
Nope, that's right.
Perfect. Mary asks, when does the second 8-week section start?
So August 16th to October 8th, I believe, is the first one. The second one starts on the 16th. So there's a week break in between the fall 8-week sections.
And so Mary, I think oftentimes what happens is, and it actually would line up quite well if you're looking at the financial therapy program, and here you could fix me if I'm wrong, but basically you could take 105 the first 8 weeks. The second 8 weeks you would actually take intro to financial therapy, and then in the spring you would take money and relationships, financial therapy theory and research, and over the summer you could do behavioral finance, and by the end of next summer have completed the financial therapy certificate. Tiara, did I say that correctly?
Yes, but also she wants to know if she can start in October, and you can start in October. You can start 105 in October and then start the financial therapy content in the spring, and then you would finish at the end of fall with your certificate. So yes, you can definitely start. We have 2 sections each semester of 105. So whenever you want to start, you can.
Andy asks a great question about financial planning software. Currently, we do not spend a lot of time on software in our courses, so we wouldn't be a good fit if you're looking to get specific training in software. As we've talked with employers, they do want that skill, and that's something we have our eye on, and we are able to do that at the undergraduate level given more hours. What they really want, though, is somebody that can critically think around these issues. The good news, they want Excel skills, so if we're able to invest in that, that is absolutely critical. For the most part, eMoney and Money Guide Pro and things like that, there's training that you can pick up on the job for that. But Andy, that's a great point and something related to software that we continue to investigate. Jeremiah asks, after the completion of the financial therapy certification, do you immediately sit for the certification offered through the FTA? Tiara, do you know the exact path on that?
So it's similar to other certifications. You obviously want to contact them. You will have to send transcripts. A part of the certification is a financial planning content as well as a mental health piece. And so, you know, that perhaps is you. And if that's the case, if you have some mental health training and then you have our coursework, technically, yes, you could go in and take that class for the financial therapy, you know, therapist level 1. There's different levels that they have. So I always suggest that you go to the website and check it out, because it'll tell you everything that you need to do for each of the different levels of certification. Another really great, awesome thing about our program is that some of our professors are directly tied to FTA as well. So they understand the process extremely well. And so I always tell people, if that's your passion, if that's your area of interest, Dr. McCoy, Dr. Lertz, they know that system that the FTA has down pat, and they're excellent resources for our students.
Yeah, and Jeremiah, I just copied and pasted in Megan McCoy's email address. She was actually the first financial therapist level 1, and she would be glad to connect with you and talk anything financial therapy. You would have classes from her if you're in the program, and she can talk to you through directly how you would move through that process. Apologize for not knowing that directly. I think Tiara is mostly right, but if you reach out to Megan, she would be able to give you all of the steps that are necessary. Simon asks, is it possible to start a program midterm, let's say November 2021? It is possible to start midterm, but it's 8-week sections. So I think as Tira telegraphed, it would have to be mid-October that you started. But yes, you can start at the beginning of a semester, or you can start at that 8-week point. One of the things that often happens is students will apply, go ahead and apply. And even if you apply to start, let's say in August, if your schedule doesn't allow, you can then go ahead and start second 8 weeks, not a huge deal, anything like that. And once again, Tierra would be glad to talk to you about those course sequencing issues. Liz asked questions related to the master's. So Liz, when you think about a master's degree, the way to really think about it is if you're doing the PFP certificate, that's 6 classes or 18 credit hours. And that is typically paired for folks that don't have a CFP, that is typically paired with one of the financial therapy certificate or the advanced planning certificate. Those courses are both, those certificates are both 4 classes each. So for example, if you get a master's degree, you could also at the same time earn the financial planning certificate and the advanced therapy certificate, or you could earn the financial planning certificate and the advanced financial planning certificate. If there's any existing CFP professionals out there, the path for you would be to take the financial therapy certificate, so 4 classes. You would add on 4 classes and earn the advanced financial planning certificate, and then you would take 2 elective hours. Here, it did include a couple in the slides, but we're actually more flexible than that. So we can work with you to find those electives that align with your skill set and focus, given what's available at the university.
So the really cool thing is if you do the master's degree, no matter which tracks you pick, you actually earn 2 certificates within the master's degree. So it's all, you earn all of that if you complete the 10 classes, the 30 credit hours.
And Mary, I would second. Dr. McCoy is the best of us. She's fantastic. She will be glad to help you. And if you email her now, I wouldn't be surprised if she emailed back 15 minutes later. But I give it 24 hours. But she's one of those that is always available. Miguel, typically you take 1 class at a time. You would do 1 the first 8 weeks and 1 the second 8 weeks. So you would take 2 classes a semester, but only have 1 course at a time. Some students want to accelerate that. And as I indicated, that is a lot if you're trying to take 2 classes at a time or 4 a semester. But the typical path is a student takes 2 classes a semester, 1 the first 8 weeks, 1 the second 8 weeks, and is only dealing with 1 content piece at a time. Tira, anything you'd add to that?
Yeah, I was just going to say, if there's anyone out there that is wants to use federal financial aid for the program, 6 hours are what is required for that. And so we try to fit, so we're 6 hours. So essentially we're part-time, but if you have a military tuition program that needs you to take 9 hours in order to qualify, then we can work with you. So there's some different programs out there that are tuition programs that have certain qualifications. So if that pertains to you, just let me know, I'll work with you. But typically if it's somebody that's just self-paying, 1 class at a time, every 8 weeks with a week off, maybe a couple weeks off in between, depending on the semester. That's just kind of how all of the students do it. And it's doable. You're busy, but it's doable.
I think we're out of questions. There's one more piece that I would share. One of the great things about our program is the connection. So many of you may already be in a job and know your path. Many of you may be career changers or looking what to do in the future. And the great thing about K-State is we really are a national brand. Folks know Kansas State all across the country, and our faculty know folks across the country. So actually today I had a conversation with an advisor in Oakland that was looking to identify somebody to come work with them. So no matter where you are in the country, if you're interested in creating a network and engaging, we are glad to be a resource for you and to help you network and branch out. And I'm always available to help do that. But that's really one of the best things about our program is that network, and people understand a K-State degree really does mean something in financial planning. Tiara Simon has a question because it's online for examinations, online exams at home, proctored, paper. How are they administered?
Mm-hmm. So we, there definitely are papers. The financial therapy courses are pretty heavily paper driven. The advanced financial planning and there's the PFP certificate, the CFP content courses are going to be more assignments, reading, tests. We honestly have had really great luck. We haven't had a lot of academic dishonesty in our program. So we do not have proctored tests where you have to like go to a center or have somebody you know, in your Zoom watching you. They are timed on occasion. They will open at a certain time and close at a certain time. So we do have that aspect of it, but you don't have to worry about going to a testing center or finding someone to proctor your exam. It's all done through our courses on Canvas, which is our online platform.
Yeah, and Tiara, I would also add just sort of a philosophy thing. I mean, this is a graduate education program. So of course we pay attention to academic integrity and look for that, but at the end of the day, you're going to get out of this what you put into it. And if you're doing this, what we're looking for is folks that are engaged, that want to hone their craft, that want to be better, that want to understand financial planning, that want to move forward in their careers. And the students that excel in this program are really going to be thinking about how the courses interrelate and how they apply. And so it is true, Tiara's right. There's a lot of programs across the country that will proctor exams and things like that. And our philosophy is we're really trying to make you better and teach you how to think so you can move forward in your careers.
And in grad school, you have to keep a 3.0 GPA. So there's that piece as well.
Tiara, do you also want to speak to the GPA required to get in case that is a question somebody might have?
Yes. So for full admittance, 3.0 or above, but we can admit 2.65 and above on a probationary basis. There are times where we have admitted a GPA slightly lower than 2.65 if the person interested has, you know, significant career experience, perhaps passed a few designation or certification exams, and just has a little bit more, you know, maturity and stuff under the belt. So we understand that, you know, 19 and 20 can be tough for some people. And, you know, if you've kind of, quote, proven yourself in the professional world, then we want to help people. We don't want to be a barrier. We want to help people meet their goals. And so if that is you, then just, you know, let me know, send me an email. We can chat on the phone about it and kind of see what your specific situation is. And if, you know, you think, and we think you'd be a good fit, we can talk about that a little bit more.
Perfect. I will stall for a minute for any last questions that might come through, but Tiara, anything else that's on your mind or frequently asked questions you get from students or wish every student would know?
No, I think we really covered everything. I did list my email in the chat, so please feel free to contact me at any point, either throughout the application process, or if you're still deciding and have questions, we can hop on the phone again. I'm more than happy to talk with you about anything that might be on your mind.
Yeah, and I went ahead and added my email there, and I just share, we're weird here. We really actually like our students. We like talking to you. It's relatively common that we're on Zoom meetings with students trying to figure out what's going on in their lives and how we can help them. So if you have any questions as you're going through this, feel free to email us, and then just understand that we will continue to be available throughout the program to help you move through. Any last questions as we are finishing up here? Well, all right, guys, I'll turn it over to Diane, but first I'd say purple really is a good color. So K-State's the way to go.
Come join us. Come join us.
I want to thank Tiara and Dr. C for that wonderful presentation, and I agree that purple is a great color. And I want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight. If you're ready to apply, please visit our website at online.ksu.edu and select how to apply for detailed instructions. As a reminder, everyone who has registered for this webinar will be receiving a recording via email as soon as it's available. Finally, if you have any additional questions that we didn't cover tonight, please don't hesitate to reach out. We also want to be sure to let everyone know that we do have application fee waivers available for those applying to the master's degree this upcoming fall semester. So feel free to reach out to us at online@ksu.edu when you are ready to apply, and we will provide you with that code. Thanks again and have a great night.